my friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. This is the Vintage Dreamer Makes podcast episode number 10. And I have a lot to show you that I'm really excited about. I only have 2 finished objects, but I have a lot of work in progress and also some spinning to show you, which I am really excited about. If you've been watching my Vlogtober, you know that I really wanted to learn how to spin, and I got an Ashford traditional wheel about a year ago, and I just started taking a class learning how to spin, and I'm on the roll and I'm excited, and it's been a lot of fun. So first, let's get started with my finished knits. If you were watching my Vlogtober, you saw that I've been working on, or I was working on, these mittens by Simply Serving. They are called her Chomp Mittens, and they are now officially out. I was able to test knit these for my daughter, and she fell in love with the dinosaurs, and she wanted the classic green. So she knew exactly what she wanted. So I chose a lighter green and a darker green. And the yarn that I used for this, I have my notes over here because I won't remember. It's Wool of the Andes in sport weight, and the color is green tea heather and then grass. Lindsay's patterns are always written very well. It was super easy to understand, and it turned out great. This is the front, and then the back even has a fun design on it. One of my favorite parts, though, is this little scalloped edge and then the ribbing. And this actually fits me. I guess I have small child hands. This is for my daughter, she's 9. And they actually fit me because apparently I have kid hands. They fit my daughter really well, but I love them. They are great. And she has, I'll show you another pattern that I'm working on called Moonlanding Mitts that will be out soon. That's really cool. I'll show you that later in my works in progress, but here's my finished mittens. And the needle size I use for these is 2.5, 3 millimeter. And I'm a loose knitter. I'm a little tighter when it comes to color work. My daughter's 9 years old and these fit her. They're a teeny bit long, but I think that's how mittens are supposed to be, just in the tips, so there's more room to, to move your fingers and everything. She loves them. Finished knit number 1, my Chomp Mittens by Simply Serving. Okay, the next one that I worked on, I finished this towards the beginning of fall. This is my Flying Solo Cowl. I will put who it's by right here because I know I will butcher the pronunciation. I used a size 7, US 7 needles, 4.5 millimeter. And the yarn is by Woolen Women Fibers. I used some leftover scraps. And I love these colors. So let's see, let's go talk about the colors. Okay, so this is Toasted Pumpkin Seed, which is available, you can get. I don't know if she might not have it now because Christmas colors have come out. You can always message her and see if she has it. But Toasted Pumpkin Seed, and then the rest was from a yarn fall advent thing from last year that I did. And the colors on this are Pumpkin Patch, Harvest, Hayride, and Falling Leaves. And I kind of blended them all in together. Used up 2 of the colors, and then this was the rest of the colors left. So I still have a good amount. I can make something else. But what's really neat about this is it has a split hem on one side. No, on both sides. I take that back. On both sides. So what it's good for is I'll put it on and mess up my hair right now. It looks really funny if you're not wearing a jacket. But if you're wearing a jacket, this will tuck in like this and the jacket will come over, so you won't be able to tell that there's like a little bib here. There. So you have your jacket, maybe your pea coat would be nice, and all you see is the cowl part and then a little bit of orange underneath, and that helps keep it tucked in and keep your chest and even some of your back warm. So I really like that design. Unfortunately, I wouldn't wear it without a jacket because it looks weird, but with a jacket, it's perfect. So I'm really happy with that. It's cozy, it's squishy, and I don't remember the weight. I think this might be DK weight. It's fingering. I stand corrected, it's fingering weight. I'm trying to think, I don't think I held it double. I could, I might have held it double. I could have held the colors double, I don't remember. I think I did hold it double because that's how I kind of got the blending. I could use two different colorways at the same time, which is what I did, I believe. And I didn't follow the pattern for how they did the color. I believe how the pattern is, if I'm remembering correctly, is it was more stripy, and I kind of wanted mine blended. My colors kind of blended more. But I'm really happy with it, and it's kind of too late to wear it now because fall is coming to an end and Christmas is happening. My husband right now is trying to figure out how to hang the lights in our new house for Christmas. Thanksgiving in the US was yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago by the time you get this podcast. I'm not sure when I'm going to air this podcast. It'll be before December for sure. But yeah, so there's that. And this is the Flying Solo Cowl. I went crazy this month casting on projects. So I have so many whips, it's ridiculous. I was actually going through my whips and found that they fill a tub. A tub, that's how many whips I have. So we'll probably talk about that during Vlogmas because I'm gonna need to go through that and figure out which ones I need to start working on and kind of clean that up because I have a lot of things I want to knit that I have planned. So I really need to finish some and cast off on a few of them. So next is work in progress. So like I said, I have a ton of whips and this is just a small amount. I believe the whips that I have currently in my tote bin you've seen before. These ones I don't know if you've seen. So first we'll start with the Moonlanding Mittens by Simply Serving. I don't believe this pattern is out yet, but it is coming very soon, I believe. I got one mitten done. Isn't that so cute? My daughter loves anything space astronaut, so I knew I had to make these when I saw them. I did the same needle size, 2.5 millimeter, as I did for my Chomp Mittens. And this is also Knit Picks yarn, wool of the Andes, and the colors are Sapphire, Heather, and White. I picked a gray one, but my daughter really wanted the white. And so I think she was right in that. Even though it was a lighter gray, I think the bright white is a really good stark contrast. And I wasn't very creative, or we weren't, I guess, because we chose the same colors that were in the design pattern. So we didn't really stray from that. But I think that's because she picked such a good color scheme for this. And then the back is a really fun design too. So I still have one more of these to make. I'm a little color worked out, so I don't know when I'm going to get back to these. And she has her Chomp Mittens to use, so she's not desperate for mittens. So I might put this on the back burner just a little bit to get a color work break. Next is my Stony Point Cowl, and this pattern is by Carolyn. I'm sorry, Carolyn, I'm going to put your name right up here so others can see how it's worded and so I don't botch your name. I used a size 3.5 millimeter, which is a US 4. When I went to the Lambtown Festival, I picked up some mini skeins and I didn't pick up enough for this pattern. So thankfully when I went to their website, I found more. And it's by Oink Pigments. The base is Targhee Pigtail. I thought the purple was so beautiful. So this is just a cowl. I can't stretch it out because it's on smaller needles, but it's just, let's see if I can get a close up. It's just an eyelet cowl, and the ending, I'm almost done, but the edging is gonna have a picot bind off. And aren't these cute? This is Woolen Women Fibers and Simply Serving. I don't believe she makes this anymore. And then the bat, which I don't think is available either because it's October, because it's Halloween, but I was really happy with the color. It's gonna be so pretty. So I alternated the two skeins. One is more solid purple and then the other one has more white in it. So it kind of has like a striped effect. But yeah, that's gonna be really pretty. It's just gonna be, it's gonna be really long, a really long cowl. It's like, I think what you call it is an infinity cowl. So it'll wrap around 2 times and then it'll have the picot lace. I think it's gonna be really beautiful. Purple's not my main color, but sometimes I'll see a purple color and I'll just fall in love with it and be like, oh, I've got to have that. And I'll just get in these purple moods. So this is the Stony Point cowl. This is the Cruces by Hilary Smith Callis. Cruces, I think that's cross, means crosses. I found this yarn in August when we went driving around for my husband's birthday by the ocean and found a cute little yarn shop, and I found this and fell in love with the color. When I looked up the color on Ravelry, I found this pattern that someone made. Color work. It's a infinity cowl and I really liked the pattern, so I saved it and tried to find the yarn, the contrasting yarn, but it was hard to find. But then if you were watching in Vlogtober, I was at the Lambtown Festival and I found the brand of yarn and I called my husband. I was like, please go to my room and find out what brand this aqua yarn is, this green yarn is. And he looked it up and found me the brand, which I was right. It was the same brand, and the weight, because I couldn't remember that. And then I went online and found the pattern, found the color, and found it. So I was so happy about that. It has a little bat from Simply Serving. My daughter loves bats. So when I saw her little bat, I was like, yes, I gotta have that. So here are the 2 colors together. The yarn is Anzula. Cricut DK is the weight. So beautiful. And the color, I believe, is Seaside and Grace. They're so beautiful together. This is going to be a stunning cowl. What it does is it goes solid and then reverses the color work and then goes solid again, and then you have this beautiful infinity cowl, and then you connect the ends by sewing it, I don't know, Kitchener stitch possibly. We'll see what the pattern says. But the yarn is so soft and so beautiful. That's the Cruces, if that's how you pronounce it, by Hilary Smith Callis. If that's how you say her name. If it isn't, I'm sorry. You know, that's the one thing about having a podcast is you're supposed to say the names correctly, but I never seem to be able to do that. So if the pattern designer's watching or the bag maker and I've butchered your name, I am so sorry. Okay, next, I believe you've seen this. It is my autumn doodle cowl, and I got a lot farther along. If you watch my Vlogmases, though, you've already seen how far along I've gotten. I have not done more than that because fall, you know, the fall feeling ended, and I kind of moved on. So next year, I'll pick it back up again and keep going. Eventually, maybe I'll have it for fall one year. So here it is. Here's what it looks like. I pretty much followed what they did. I changed it up a little bit. I used the kit colors that I bought last year, and I don't think they have that yarn anymore. I used a 3.75 millimeter needle, and the yarn is Green Letter Day, and it was a yarn kit, and it was in their, let's see, where to go, their DK Merino yarn base. So this is as far as I got. Isn't it pretty? Leaf, and then the ghosts, and then the little cups, coffee cups or cocoa cups, and then I did the pumpkin. This was not in the sample design, but I really liked that, so I added that. Little pumpkins. So yeah, this is fun, but there's a lot of decision making to be had, which I'm not fond of decision making. But it knits up really quickly when you know which layers you want to choose to decide between. And what's neat about this is you have different patterns and you can swap it up, change it around, pick and choose which ones you want to use. So that's a lot of fun to be able to customize it to how you want it. And this is also going to be an infinity cowl. And before you join the ends together, you give it you don't have to, but you can give it a little twist and then join it. And it gives it like, let's see, it gives it a little fanciness, I guess. So yeah, this is my autumn doodle cowl. I love this. Next are my heart socks, and I am in love with this pattern. How can you not be in love with hearts? So this is the I Heart Socks pattern by, what's her name? I need this closer to me. Sock pattern by Stony Knits, and it came from her book, actually. Knit it like this, of course. But the yarn, I mean, first the pattern is beautiful, and I really liked in the sample how she did the red and pink, so I chose to copy that. But the yarn I chose is Knit Picks, and it is so soft, and it feels so good to knit with it. Oh, and here's a little progress keeper. This is one of the first things I ever carved, was a heart. Not many of these are around. I don't know, like, if I should make more, maybe for Valentine's Day. But I thought it was perfect for this. And the colors match perfectly. It kind of camouflages in there, doesn't it? I use Knit Picks Stroll Fingering, and it is so soft. I use Knit Picks a lot, like Wool in the Andes. That's nice, but it's not as soft as this. This has like a cashmere feel to it, but I don't believe there's any cashmere in it. The color is Poppy and then Dogwood Heather, and this is Knit Picks Stroll. The pattern is super easy to follow in the book. The book's floating around somewhere, I'm sorry. I'll put a picture of the book, what it looks like, so you can see what it looks like. But this is as far as I've gotten. These are my meditative socks because it is so relaxing to knit these, and the yarn is so soft that I'm actually enjoying just the process of knitting. And I'm not a process knitter. I like knitting, but I really want the end result more than I like the process. But this is definitely a process knit for me. It is just so, it is just such a joy to knit. And I keep them in my bag by stitching the high notes. I thought it had a Valentine-y feel, and I love the sparkle for the holidays. So I'll probably be knitting on this for a while. It gives me zen. This is a really fun one, and I keep this next project in this bag by stitching the high notes. And this is it's called The Little Leftovers, and it's by Stephanie Lotvin of Telly Bean Knits. And I saw this pattern on Meanwhile at the Castle. Deborah knitted one, and actually she knitted two, and I thought it was so cool. And I was like, it's called Little Leftovers because you can use all of your minis. And I have so many Patreon minis from Woolen Women Fibers. I thought surely I'll be able to find a color scheme that works well. And I actually did. I used Patreon minis, and then I used her Valentine's Day advent from, I don't remember, it might have been last year. But look at the colors. So here's the colors. It's so springy, and when I started it, it didn't match fall. It was the end of summer, but I couldn't help myself. So these stitch markers are from Sam's Tiny Trinkets. I love it, and it is perfect for this cowl. Perfect. It is so beautiful. I just can't contain myself. I love it so much. And what's really neat is each layer has a different stitch pattern, which helps with the blocking of the stripes and then changing up the colors. There's so much variety you can do with this pattern. It is just so pretty. I might pick this up in January again. Anyways, I love it so much. There's so many colors in here. And I believe this is fingering weight. It's all fingering weight. I just have one more whip, and you've seen this before. This is a sweater that I'm working on for fall, and it's in the bag by Stitching the High Notes, and I have some fiber, stuck to it from spinning. I'm not gonna try this on. I showed it in one of my Vlogtobers, and I tried it on one of the last Vlogtobers, I believe. And on it is all of my little pumpkin seeds from Sam's Tiny Trinkets and corn from Sam's Tiny Trinkets. And this is the colorway Toasted Pumpkin Seed. And this is a cardigan. It is called the Flare Free Cardi. It's a little wrinkly from being in the bag. Anyways, I'm getting down to, I just have the sleeves to do, and I think I got the length I need, so I just got to do the ribbing. I'm so close to getting this finished, almost finished, so I can pick up for the neck, to do the ribbing for the neck and the button band, But it's turning out really pretty. I really love this colorway a lot. I've said this multiple times, I'm sure you already know that. Okay, that is all of my whips. So what should we talk about next? I'm thinking my spinning. I think that's the only thing. Oh, and some hand dyeing, which I don't believe I've shared this with you. And I meant to, but it happened around our move. Not this year, but last year. And I don't think I shared it with you. Judy from the Autumn Acorn has a Patreon, and I was part of the Patreon. I'm not anymore, just because I had to downsize my Patreon a little bit. But it's an amazing Patreon. You'd love it. And she taught or showed her process and how to hand dye yarn naturally using the sun. Not hand dye, what do you call it? Sun-dyed yarn. And I did that in our old house. Yeah, I was in the transition. We were living with my mother-in-law at the time, trying to find a house. And she had these beautiful rose bushes. And when they got wet, they turned this purple color. And I thought, oh, I'm going to hand dye yarn in that. And I did, but something happened. I don't know what happened, but it turned green. I couldn't figure it out because when the rose petals got wet, purple came on my hand. And when I started dyeing it in the sun, it was just a slight gray color. And then all of a sudden it turned green, and I was not happy about that. Now that I look at it, it's a beautiful sagey green that would go really well with a pink, a soft floral pink or something like that. But at the time it made me so angry. So I started over, and by that time we were in our new house, and our new house had this beautiful bougainvillea and bright pink. I don't know if I can find video of it. If I can, I'll show it to you. But it was just so beautiful, and I thought, I bet you that dyes well. So I dyed with that. So here's the first one I did with my mother-in-law's roses. It's, I don't know. It's like, it could be a camo green. But, I was really disappointed with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But then I did the bougainvillea. I don't even know if the colors are going to show good. But I followed what Judy said to do, and I had it in a big ball jar in the sun with the bougainvillea petals. And there's like this beautiful variegation to it where it's a deeper pink, and then it's a whiter, like a lighter orangey color. Just so pretty. I have one more skein that I'm thinking I could dye. I don't know what I would use. I don't really have anything around this new house. Maybe I could try mushrooms. That would be fun. But so beautiful. And this is just bougainvillea. handspun. I'm finally on the roll with handspun. I took the class from Youthful Fiber Farm and Mill. I'll put the name. And her class is amazing. Kim is her name. And I went into the class so frustrated, not being able to figure out how my spinning wheel works, the parts of the spinning wheel, all of that. And in the class, she explains all of it. And now I know the names of my spinning wheel. I understand more. I can go back to the class and rewatch if I've forgotten. It is amazing. The class isn't available right now, but if you sign up for her newsletter, if you're interested, you can get an update when she decides to do the class again. Probably in January would be my thought, is when she would do it again. But it was an amazing class, and I just went crazy spinning fiber. Here it is. So first I'll show you my very first. This was the first handspun I did, and I really love it. It's thick and thin, of course, because I was learning, but I thought this would make a really beautiful cowl with the chicken and egg buttons I got from Lindsay from Simply Serving. But it's just so pretty. So my first attempt, not too shabby. My second attempt is I had this aqua fiber. Now the fiber that I got is from Kim from Youthful Fibers Farm and Mill, and this is Shetland, and then this is a mixture of the white Shetland and then an aqua Romney single, and I applied them together. So with this skein, I decided to knit a little scarf. So one of the inspirations that I've always kind of been curious about spinning, and I always thought like the spinning wheels were so romantic, and I just loved that idea, and I thought, oh, I could never do something like that. And I found Kate from The Last Homely House and watched her quilting videos and just started to love her channel so much. And she did a video on spinning. I'll link it below. It is a great video. And she did handspun. She did the whole process on the video of the yarn, of spinning the fiber, of carding it, spinning the fiber, winding it up, and then making something out of it. And she made this really fun neck, scarf. It's a really simple pattern. It's just cast on 3, and every row at the beginning and the end you increase. And it's kind of hard. I'm in the middle of a row here because I ran out of yarn. But what it turns into is this really long piece of fabric. And it's kind of triangular, but it's very narrow and long. And it wraps around, and you can tie it, and it'll be under you can put it under your jacket. See if I can no. It's kind of hard to tell. I wasn't thinking when I stopped in the middle, but. So that's going to be really pretty. I will admit though, because it's one of my first skeins ever, it's thick and thin, and I have to use these fat needles, and I really, really hate knitting it because there's just too many thick and thin pieces. I think I realized I like knitting with smaller, thinner yarn, fingering weight, maybe worsted, but I don't really like bulky, and for the most part this was bulky. But I'm really happy with it. It's been a lot of fun. And then I got an order of fiber before I even started learning from the Fiber Genie. And in her packets, she always gives such fun goodies, extra goodies. And in the fiber one, I got little balls. I don't have it anymore because I spun it up, but little sample balls of roving in so many fun colors with sparkles in there, all sorts of fun things. And I decided to make an art yarn. Isn't that fun? And I had a little bit more left over, so this is some of the Shetland I spun that was left over from twisting with the aqua. And I was like, what do I do with it? So I decided to keep it as a single, and I'm going to use it as a yarn beard for a gnome. And then I had a little more left over, and I made this cute tiny little skein of singles art yarn. And I thought this would be a really pretty gnome hat for spring. So I have a little gnome hat and a gnome beard. I don't know the yardage, so I'll have to figure that out so I can figure out what size gnome to do. But I'll just need a bottom. Maybe I'll hand spin a solid color or something. So it'd be my first hand spun gnome. But look at how cute this is. You know, I had a thought like, what if I hand spun little mini skeins specifically for gnomes and sold them in kits? I don't know. Is that something you think people would be interested in? But I just love the little teeny mini skein. What I did to do these is I took my laptop cover and I just wrapped it around there to make the skein. But you can buy nitty knotties that are a lot smaller to make smaller skeins. But I was really happy with that. And yeah, and then my budget is over. I don't really have a budget for yarn and stitch markers and things like that for at least a month, maybe 2 months. So the only thing I'm really doing is the Fiber of the Month Club from Youthful Fibers, Farm and Mill. Let me get her name. Oh, I'm saying it right. Yeah, Youthful Fiber Farm and Mill. So I'm doing her Fiber of the Month Club. It is now full, unfortunately, but I get a new box of fiber every month, and that is what I've budgeted for. So it's like $30 a month, and I get my little box of fiber. So yeah, I need to like save some money and not spend so much on yarn and use the resources I have. So there's a lot of, things I need to use that money towards. Dental money. I have to have some dental surgery coming in January on a tooth back here. And just things life throws at you. And I just need to kind of curb my spending on the extra fun things. So speaking of the Fiber of the Month, I got my first box and I already spun it up. I couldn't help myself. And I'll show you the yarn now. The Fiber of the Month was Finn Sheep mixed with mohair. And I spun it up into a lace weight. It fluctuates into lace weight to fingering, but the thick and thin is gone. So I have improved. If I ply it together, I'll lose yardage, plus it'll make it a worsted weight. And I really wanted to do a lace shawl. I have always wanted to make a lace shawl out of hand spun, and I always thought it was something I could never do. And I met a couple of people in person who did it, and I was just like, oh, that is so cool. I could never achieve that ever. And look, I think I might achieve it. So yeah, it's not thick and thin, which is good, but it is not consistent. So it does change from a light fingering lace weight to regular fingering. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. But I'm going to make a lace shawl. I don't know if I'm going to do like an Estonia type shawl. Like I have a book, Knitted Lace of Estonia, that I might do. I don't know. But I want it to be really intricate and big and beautiful. And I have more of this fiber coming. I got the last of it. I'm so thankful for that. And it's just so beautiful. So I'm so happy. And that's it. I still need to wash this, but I'm not going to wash it until I get the new fiber coming, because when I spin it again, I don't want to forget the weight. And when you wash it, the weight it might plump up and change the weight. So I'm going to wait to wash this until I start spinning the other fiber. Anyways, that looks like that's everything. And November is ending and Christmas is upon us. Today, I'm starting to take down all my fall decorations, get a clean palette, and then start decorating. Right now, my husband's working on the Christmas tree lights outside. It's a new house, so we're trying to figure out where the outlets are and where we're going to put things. But because of Thanksgiving, we have a nice long holiday weekend. So I have my husband through Sunday. That has been great. Thursday through Sunday. So nice. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't, please like this video. That's very helpful to me. Okay, I will see you in my next video, which will be Vlogmas. Yay! See you next time.